till you find your way back home.
What is going on, you guys? Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we're going to talk about the top foods that I have had the most throughout my weight loss journey. Now, before I go into the list of these foods, I just want to take a little bit of notes for you guys to keep in mind as I'm going through them. Number one, none of these foods are weight loss specific foods, meaning none of these foods are foods that if you consume more of them, you're going to lose more fat or more weight. So none of these foods are like magic foods. And number two, remember, moderation is key in everything. Number three, there are going to be some foods in here that are completely wholesome and nutritious that are going to give you plenty of micronutrients and macronutrients. However, there are also foods that are going to be included that should be used sparingly in your weight loss journey for you to just have as like tools to keep your cravings down, just as little satisfactions here or there. For those of you who know me, you know that I prefer not to do cheat days or cheat meals. I prefer to have 2 to 3 miniature snacks throughout the week accordingly whenever I crave them. That's just my preference. So that is the foods that I'm going to be showing you today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on the list. So number one on the list is going to be cauliflower rice. Now, not specifically rice. You can make cauliflower however you want to make it. You can use this to make like flatbread for pizzas. You can do so much with cauliflower. And what I love about it is I'm just going to give you an example of one of the go-tos that I use. It's just cauliflower rice. I picked this up at any Ralph's. If you have a Ralph's near you, you can just go try them out if you want to. For this entire packet, you guys, it's 50 calories. You get 1 gram of fat, 8 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein. It also has 6 grams of fiber, so that is awesome, right? The macros are pretty tight for it. So cauliflower is for sure on these top foods. You don't have to get the packet. You could just get a cauliflower head, grind it up in a food processor, and just brown it in a skillet. Mix it up with any seasonings that you want. And yeah, so it's definitely a high volume food. It gives you so much for so little. So cauliflower is for sure a favorite. Also, on these packets, just to give a little side note, a carb to fiber ratio should be 10 grams of carbs per gram of fiber. So every 10 grams of carbs that's on a packet, you should have at least 1 gram of fiber in there. So when you're reading on labels, every 10 grams of carbs should have 1 gram of fiber. Food number two is gonna be personal watermelons. You guys, what I love the most about personal watermelons is they have amino acids in them. And amino acids are the building blocks of protein, right? So you need those to build muscle and build your protein. Full of nutrients. This is definitely a carb source. And it is full of sugar. However, if you time your sugars right and you get them from right sources like fruits, you're gonna be fine. Another thing to note, having sugar right after your workout is actually going to restore your depleted glycogen stores, right? So if you have something like a personal watermelon, half of a personal watermelon is what I usually have, right after your workout, it's going to restore your glycogen store. So don't be afraid to have half of a personal watermelon and add it into your daily macronutrients if you can. Just be careful with your carb intake. Make sure that you're hitting your macros, and don't have it every single day. And if you do have it right after your workout. It's fruit, you guys. You can't exclude fruit from your diet, right? I mean, I personally can't. So watermelon is for sure one of my top foods that I've had throughout my weight loss. So food number three is gonna be tuna. Tuna packets, tuna cans, any sort of tuna at all. Personally, I like to have 2 packets of these Star-Kissed tunas in one sitting. For 1 packet though, you get 70 calories, 0.5 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbs, and 13 grams of protein. So this is definitely a protein source for you to have. And it's going to keep you full, which is what I love about these. For 70 calories, I know it doesn't look like a lot of volume, but it's very, very filling because of the high protein content. So I definitely recommend picking up some tuna packets if you're on the go, or tuna cans. Tuna is expensive, I get that for sure, but they're nice to have and to keep in your drawer whenever you do have those, like, just like, I don't have time to cook something, I didn't meal prep, I didn't do this, whatever the case may be. They're awesome to just be able to grab and go in the mornings if I know that I'm not going to be able to prepare something else. And again, they're super filling, so don't be afraid to have 2 if you like them, to fill your protein intake for the day. Again, remember that you want to hit your macros as accurately as you possibly can to get the best out of them, but fill them up with the right types of macronutrients and get them from the right sources. So tuna is for sure on the top of these foods. So food number 4 is gonna be tofu. I know tofu isn't very popular amongst a lot of people. However, I personally love it because it has so much volume. Again, volume is something that's so crucial to have in your weight loss, especially when you're on a caloric deficit, because when you're on a caloric deficit, you're already kind of like, working with little calories, and you want to get as much as you possibly can for that small amount of calories that you're able to expend, right? Tofu, for this entire packet, if you had the entire packet, I'm not saying that you should, I definitely don't. However, just to put it into perspective of how much volume is in here, for the entire packet would be 315 calories, you guys. This is definitely still a protein and fat source though. But yeah, definitely include tofu into your macronutrients if you can. The great thing about this is you can do so much with it. You can make like patties. I like to grind it up like ground beef kind of and make it into like tacos. That's what I usually do with it. And it's super, super filling, and it's a great way to fill up my protein without having to drink a whey protein if I don't want to that day. Or, so tofu is for sure a top food. So number 5 is going to be berries, you guys. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, whichever. These are definitely a favorite of mine. I like to throw them into my shakes. I like to have them with my breakfast. If you watch my full day of eating, you saw that I did have strawberries as a pre-workout breakfast meal. They're super yummy. I love having them. Blueberries, I don't know if you guys have seen those like little packets that they come in. Sometimes I have the tendency to kind of just like snack on those as like a pre-workout or a post-workout. And yeah, so berries for sure are full of vitamins and minerals, so I would definitely include them as one of my most eaten foods. I probably have strawberries at least 3 to 4 times out of the week, so yeah, berries for sure are number 5. So number 6 on the list is going to be definitely these Tumaro's low in carb veggie wraps, multi-grain, chia. They have so many different flavors. This one's almost gone because it's my favorite. It's the 9-grain with chia. The reason why I like these so much, you guys, is because it's only 60 calories for an entire wrap, which is pretty dope, right? And the macronutrients for it, it's 11 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fat, and 6 grams of protein. Definitely recommend these. Give them a try. I get these at the commissary. I don't know where else they sell them, but that's just where I found them so far. But they're pretty awesome. I like to make them as like a breakfast burrito, or I like to use them as like some type of like a burrito with like a tofu or something. But yeah, they're really yummy. So give them a try if you can. Tumaro's low in carb wraps. They come in various different flavors. So as some of you guys know, I love carbohydrates. I don't hide away from carbohydrates at all in my diet. I actually love incorporating them and using them to the best of my ability as a tool. And so yeah, so this next one is actually bread, you guys. Francisco International brand, and it's just sourdough bread. For 2 slices, it's 120 calories, 22 grams of carbs, 4 grams of protein, and 1.5 grams of fat. I know bread has a horrible rep in the weight loss community. However, I personally love including it in there. I try to pick the best bread that I can. Sourdough is definitely not an unhealthy choice for bread. It's typically made from a wheat source anyway, so definitely recommend sourdough bread if you are a bread lover and you want to incorporate it into your macronutrients every now and again as toast, or as a sandwich with a little bit of peanut butter on there, or whatever it may be. I definitely, again, I don't shy away from anything, you guys. I just use everything in moderation, and I try to pick the best options that I possibly can. So sourdough bread is definitely one of those items that I have used to my advantage throughout my weight loss journey. So the next item on the list is gonna be almond milk. This is the unsweetened vanilla 30 calorie from Almond Breeze. I'm not a huge milk fan as it is. I don't like drinking whole milk 1% or 2%. I just never liked it. However, I do enjoy this one, and the reason why I get this one is not because of the calorie content. It's actually because of the sugar content. This specific one has 0 grams of sugar, and if you go to like your local grocery store, or if you have almond milk in your fridge and it's not a 30 calorie almond milk, usually it's loaded with a ton of sugars. And remember, you want to get your sugar sources from things like fruits. So I would definitely, if you are someone who enjoys putting this in your coffee or having it in your shakes, try to get one that is not as loaded with sugars. This is definitely something that I've used constantly, so yeah, this is on the list. So the next item on the list is gonna be spinach. This thing is probably something that I enjoy having, not just in salads, but in like my breakfast burritos. I like to have it in the morning with eggs, or just on the side, like as a side dish, or in my shakes. You get so much volume for few calories with spinach, and it's also full of micronutrients. So spinach is definitely one of my favorite foods that I've had throughout my weight loss journey. And if you don't cook it, even better. I suggest eating it fresh, but you know, to each their own. Everybody has their preference. Spinach is definitely on the list. So the next food item on the list is gonna be eggs. Now, I love having eggs with the yolk inside of them. I know a lot of people don't do that because of the cholesterol that is in egg yolks. However, that's perfectly fine. If you just prefer egg whites are even better. The reason why I like having them with the yolks is because I feel really satiated and full and satisfied if I have the yolks with the egg. So for that reason, I do recommend having eggs. They keep you full for a longer period of time. However, if you are someone who deals with cholesterol problems, again, have egg whites. That's perfectly fine. Eggs are a great source of protein and fat if you have them with the yolk. So yeah, I definitely recommend eggs. They are not a high volume food. However, they are a filler food. So they're going to keep you full because of the protein content that's in them. So eggs are for sure a part of the list. So the next item on the list is going to be quinoa. I love quinoa, you guys. It has a low glycemic index, and it's also just super tasty and satisfying. It tends to hold a ton of flavor when you season it with whatever it is that you want to season it with. And I enjoy it better than I do rice. I'm not really a fan of rice as it is, but if I do eat rice, of course I have brown rice instead of white rice. But quinoa is definitely probably one of my primary carb sources for the most part throughout my journey. So I definitely recommend it. For a fourth of a cup dry, it's 190 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, 33 grams of carbs, 6 grams of protein, 2 grams of fiber. I know a lot of people probably aren't fans of quinoa because you have to kind of like prepare it before you cook it, rinse it and all that good stuff. If you are someone who can get a hold of a Costco member, or you have a Costco card yourself, this one actually comes pre-washed and ready to cook, so it makes it so much easier to deal with quinoa. So yeah, quinoa is definitely on the list. So the next 3 foods that I'm going to share with you guys are not wholesome, nutritious, fresh foods. However, I have enjoyed them throughout my entire journey to help me beat cravings, satisfy anything that I might be feeling for. They definitely have helped me kind of like keep sane throughout my weight loss. As you guys know, again, I don't do cheat days or cheat meals. I like incorporating 2 to 3 snacks throughout the week that won't make me spill over my caloric deficit. For me, that just works so much better. And so yeah, even though these foods should be used sparingly and as tools to help you beat cravings, I'm going to share them with you because they're foods that I have enjoyed for a year and 6 months now. So why not? Let's go ahead and show you the first one, and that is Enlightened Ice Cream. Now, though you should not have the entire pint, you probably can and get away with it and fitting it into your macros once in a while. For the entire pint, if you were to have it, it's I think it has it on here somewhere, 280 calories for the entire pint. Now, the reason why I don't recommend that you do that is because the fiber on here is pretty high, and you don't want to have your entire day's worth of fiber come from something like Enlightened Ice Cream, right? So that is why I don't recommend you have the entire pint. But if you do, no worries. It's not going to kill your diet. It's not going to set you back. It's not going to ruin anything. As long as you don't spill over your total caloric intake, and you keep it within your macronutrients, or try to at least for the best that you can, you will be okay. So Enlightened Ice Cream is definitely one of the foods that I have enjoyed in moderation throughout my weight loss journey to beat cravings. It comes in so many different flavors, and I can fit a serving or 2 of these into my macronutrients without problem, worry, and without feeling any type of guilt. Enlightened for sure. So the next item on the list is going to be Quest bars. I definitely love Quest bars. They keep me, from having any extra cravings, and I can fit them into my macronutrients, no problem. However, remember the 90-10 rule, where you want 90% of your macronutrients to come from wholesome and fresh foods. The other 10% can come from items like Enlightened Ice Cream, Quest bars, things of that sort that you can incorporate into your caloric deficit without spilling over and staying within your macro count. So Quest bars are for sure a favorite of mine. And the last goodie item on the list is going to be Healthy Pop 100 calorie single bags. So for an entire bag, you can choose to share it if you want to, but for an entire bag, it's just 100 calories, you guys. So if you're ever watching a movie and you want something to snack on, these are perfect for those moments. So I definitely recommend having something like this. It doesn't have to be this exact item, but this is just an idea of things that you can incorporate into your weekly macros without spilling over. Things like this, if used sparingly and in moderation, are completely fine. And I definitely recommend doing it if you're not someone who's incorporating a cheat day or a cheat meal a week. So yeah, Healthy Pop 100. That is going to conclude the list for this video, you guys. I did want to end the video with one extra side note. I know that there are some people who are watching who are practicing the ketogenic diet, and there are a ton of foods on this list that you can't incorporate into your daily foods, and that's completely okay. None of these foods are necessary for weight loss. These are just foods that I have enjoyed for the majority of my weight loss, and so therefore I'm sharing them with you. However, remember that for you to have a successful weight loss, you have to find something that is sustainable and maintainable for a prolonged period of time. You have to be able to enjoy what you're eating, right? And if that includes having 1, 2, or 3 snacks that you can include into your diet and your macronutrients throughout the week sparingly, then that's great. You can totally do that. That's what I do. If that includes having 1 cheat meal a week and, clean eating throughout the week, that's great too. If that includes being on a keto diet and not having any carbs, that is perfectly fine too, as long as it's something that you can sustain and maintain for a prolonged period of time. Then you're going to be extremely okay and successful with it. But again, remember to find something that works for you and is tailored to you, because everyone runs off of preference. Everyone has different taste buds. Some people like low carb diets, some people like high carb diets. It all depends on you. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe if you can. In the comment section below, let me know if there are any questions that you guys might have. I'd love to answer them. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.